Right now is the most important time where you can help me, the Illuvium DAO, and everything around it with just a few clicks. And probably most of you know what I'm talking about. We have the IMC elections going on right now. IMC is the Illuvium main council, so basically the leaders of the DAO, where all the big questions go to. They're kind of the board members of the DAO. And yeah, most of you know already what it is. And we have already talked about it in the last video, where I explained a lot of my answers for the nomination of the DAO. And now the time has come where you actually need to vote if you have tokens staked in Illuvium. So if you just have some Illuvium tokens, that doesn't give you voting power. You need to have them staked before this all happens. So if you have them staked right now, good. Just go onto the homepage where you can vote for them, and then you can make your voice heard in Illuvium, which is very important, right? I'm not here saying, hey, vote for me, or shit will hit the fan and everything will go down and I'm gonna FUD if I'm not going in and stuff like this. That's not what this is about. Obviously, I think I'm a great candidate. Otherwise, I wouldn't run for the IMC. Like, this is why I haven't run before for the IMC, because until now, I didn't feel like I would actually provide more value to the community, to the DAO, to the project than other members. But now I think I can actually compete and actually outperform pretty much, not, I wouldn't say all of the members. There's great people up here, right? But I definitely deserve a spot in the top 5, in the top 4, and I think you should definitely vote for me. Again, I'm not here. That's not the main message. Well, it kind of is the main message. Obviously, I want you to vote for me, but obviously, I also want to tell you how to vote, and you should make up your own mind and just scroll through the nominees, check out the discussion panels that Scoriox did right here. So if you go onto the Illuvium X homepage, onto the Illuvium Twitter right now, and you scroll down, you're going to see here is the second panel interview with Scoriox and all the members. And then a little bit down is the first one, which I was a part of. I wasn't here in the first few minutes, but then like 10 minutes later, I joined, and we had a great discussion. I think I was way more nervous than I needed to be. I don't know, this public speaking stuff still gets to me, but it was a really good discussion with all my fellow panel members, and this one is a good one as well. If you don't want to look into this, it takes a few hours, right? You can always check out this document right here. It is also linked in the Illuvium X post right here. If you go to this post right here, you can also see the other post that is linked from Illuvium. And in this post, I can't see it right now because my internet is not working. But in this post, they also linked the link to voting and also all the IMC nominees. And that's the sheet that we're looking at right here. So I wanted to go over maybe the longest question that I answered, because as you can see, some answers are very short. Like this person right here only has this much as his biggest answer. And I think I have the biggest actual size for their individual questions. And it is because of this answer right here. And I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to prove again that this is just not blah, blah, and also give you a little bit more input what my biggest priorities are in Illuvium for the coming epoch if I get onto the IMC. So giving Illuvium Labs, or the question is, what do you believe are the 3 biggest priorities facing this DAO, and how could you address them? So for me, giving Illuvium Labs the support they need to create the best games possible is priority number 1. So I'm just going to read it, then we're going to talk about it. That starts with having a more engaged council on both sides, on the IMC and on Labs side as well. So assisting them and asking the right questions, and I kind of plundered that. So basically, the IMC should support Labs, and they should be asking the right questions and obviously vote and give the rationale, and the minimum requirement should still be there, but they should also be a supporting, assisting role and not be a hindrance for Labs. And then on the ICC side and community side, which will be to bring the answers that the IMC has gotten and that Labs has for the community back to the community, and the other way around as well, bringing all the community stuff to IMC and to Labs, and make the people feel heard and well represented. If both councils work closely together, the council becomes a valuable asset and a strong bridge. And I think that's what has been lacking a little bit in the past epoch, where, for example, the IMC was not very community close, right? Uh, I talked a lot to the IMC. I tried to push them to be more active, more engaged in the community. And mostly the answer, what they gave us, were like, there is just working for work's sake, and we shouldn't, we are very high level and we need to make these high level decisions. Our job is not to be community close. But I think that's not the whole truth, right? I think there were many instances where all these IMC members could have been more close to the community and actually engaging with them and getting a more feedback. They have the ICC to get all the community sentiment and stuff like this, but they still gotta be embedded in the community and shouldn't just visit once per week to the meeting, then drop their voting, their rationale, and be gone again. I think they should be deeply embedded in there, and that's another promise I can make where I'm just full-time Illuvium. That's my job. I quit my job. I went full-time Illuvium, be it with content creation, with tournament hosting, with guild leading, with ICC, and all of that around it. So you will see me 24/7 in the Discord, and whatever Illuvium needs, I'm gonna be there and do it. So we went a little bit, got a bit sidetracked here. Let's see where we work. So a big problem has been the council working closely together, like the collaboration between the two councils. The council becomes a valuable asset and a strong bridge if we work closely together. And that way community members don't feel like they have to push labs directly to get the visions acknowledged or the concerns addressed. So I think that's what we have seen a lot in the past, where the community didn't really trust in the council and thought they had to scream in the Discord to get the Illuvium Labs attention, to get the vision across and to get their opinions across, and not and they felt like something will be missed if they don't come up for it, which is kind of the representatives, the council's job, to actually represent and stand up for the community, so the community can kind of relax and feel like, hey, I have the right people in place. They got this. They're going to do the job for me. I don't have to micromanage the team. Council shouldn't micromanage the team either, but you know what I'm saying. So we also need to improve onboarding, make it more streamlined. And that's more about just player acquisition. Build a clearer progression system to keep new players engaged. The third part of that journey. So first, make it more streamlined. Build a clear progression system. And then and then the third part is falling in love with the IMP, right? Sticking to it, getting addicted, getting hooked to Illuvium. And that already happens naturally if players are given time and exposure in the ecosystem. I think we have seen that all. I think that's a big reason why we're all here. If you play enough time, if you see enough Illuvians, catch enough Illuvians, play enough with them, you're gonna have that Pokemon effect where you get really attached to them and really fall in love with them. The art is there, the lore is there, and the whole character of the Illuvians is so good that it's very easy to fall in love with the IP. If in the first place you actually start playing the game, and secondly, stay long enough in here to actually get hooked. So the foundation is there. To make it work, we need to stay committed to our recent game-first approach, keeping blockchain out of the early onboarding experience and introducing it later at the right moment when it actually adds value. This is the biggest thing that Web3 is facing, I think, where we should just make a good game, and then on top of that, the cherry on the ice is actually all those blockchain Web3 features that we can provide to have more value for the customer, and not something that is kind of standing in the way of the real gaming experience, right? So we all came to Web3 for different reasons, and finding the right time and strategy to present the features that might get you hooked is key. Another big challenge is communication from labs to the community. We need to avoid stealth patches, silent changes, and repeating mistakes like the recent emergency proposal, which was really, really badly received for a good reason, right? So anything that might come across as sneaky, even if the intentions are good, need to be avoided. Transparency has always been one of Illuvium's core values. I talked about that in the panel. I think Illuvium, with their town halls, their AMAs, their leaks that they consistently post about development. Now we have an updated roadmap that you can also see here on Illuvium's page. I don't know if the internet allows me. Yeah, we see it right here. By the way, congrats to NeferP2 for rank 1 in the leaderboard. Phantom for the win. But we are not a topic. So here, the updated roadmap, really good. So I think transparency has been really, really good. And yeah, we just need to improve communication where we let the community know early enough when changes are coming. We ask them for anything that impacts them a lot. And sometimes we have to push changes onto the community because many of them will get burned if there is a change. For example, hey, levels really suck for onboarding, but you spend so much time leveling. What do you think about it? Many people say, oh, I spend all this time and money. It shouldn't just be free for the new players. And there's a bit of a disconnect where we have to make the games as good as possible for your assets to appreciate and for Illuvium to succeed. But while doing that, oftentimes investors will get burned. And so we still need to talk to the community and find the best ways. For example, I really like the solution for levels where you can just buy levels, right? You can my idea was, but this is, again, has more, it needs more development work. But for example, the gyms, the training camps where people could rent out the training gyms and actually level up Illuvials for others on their land plots. This could be in the overworld. And I could go in and just in-game say, hey, take my Scoriox, whoever wants it, and give it back when it's 10 level more. You get 2,000 fuel or whatever that is, right? Gamify the experience, or just let whales buy levels. And then the people who spend all the time don't mind because they actually get increased value out of it. And the people who have the money and want to fast track this can do it, right? Anyway, we're getting sidetracked a little bit down here. Let's talk about the next point. Transparency has always been one of Illuvium's core values, and we need to stay true to that. Expectations should be set clearly and early. I think this is a very important goal for the next epoch. But this isn't just a top-down issue. And I think I've been always very much trying to communicate from both sides. I'm not here and trying to just say whatever the community wants to hear. I'm also here to say the hard truths that sometimes the community needs to hear, I think. And I think that's also what makes me a valuable asset. I'm not just trying to create a positive echo chamber where people just like me because I say whatever they want to hear, even if it's not true. I think we had one IMC member in general, in particular, who was very much just saying whatever the room wanted to hear without really staying true to what he believes in and knows to be true in the first place. So I'm happy to say community communication needs to work too, and needs some work too. There is a divide and a lot of bad vibes. Much of it goes back to an all-time high, and then what followed, a market crash and a launch that was really bad and didn't meet expectations. So when someone loses 90% of their investment and can't realistically sell because the market is down or the assets are too illiquid, they often stay in the project but carry a lot of resentment. That's been one of our biggest challenges as a community. So basically, the investor who lost 90% of his investment is forced to stay and become a community member. And then usually, instead of uplifting the community, trying to work ourselves with teamwork out of this, many times they're just pissed and just, spew a lot of toxicity and negative sentiments around because they lost all their money, but are kind of forced to stay there. So I think that's the biggest challenge in the community. And I'm not mad at these people, right? There's a reason for this, but I don't think that's the way, and that's not going to get us our 90% back. I don't have a perfect, and by the way, I'm part of this, but I'm trying to, do everything I can to improve Illuvium. At least that's what I'm trying to do, and I think I've done it in many ways. But I also realized that, for example, as an ICC member, as a guild leader, I cannot change the market, right? I cannot just make the token pump. I'm even trying to develop a game now, which I cannot talk about, but we're going to talk about it more. And I'm trying really hard to make Illuvium succeed from my perspective. But yeah, it needs teamwork, right? So I don't have a perfect solution for this yet, but I truly believe that if labs, the community, and the council work together openly and honestly, we can find a better path forward. Step by step, we can lift each other up. And I honestly believe that, and I honestly think we can do this together. And yeah, there is no this perfect solution that will fix it all, right? This is hard work. Otherwise, it would be easy. and we just gotta step by step be uplifting, be constructive, come together, and have good dialogues, and keep all our biases and all our, let's say it, all our bullshit in the back, and really do what's best for the project and for the long-term success of the DAO, because that's why we're all here in the end, right? And we cannot control the market, but the decisions we make, I think Illuvium has learned, we can't control the market, that's just it, right? But the decisions we make, I think Illuvium has learned a lot from the past. So the leadership has been humbled, I think. I think that has been really refreshing to see, where, Kieran is out there in AMH just saying, hey, we fucked up. Like, he's being honest, he's being truthful, and he knows, hey, we made mistakes. He calls themselves out, and he acknowledges the mistakes, which is really important. Is they're accountable and trying to get better. And I think step by step, we're seeing labs and all of it behind it getting better, learning from their mistakes, and just constantly improving. We still have a lot of runway, and the way I see it and the way it has been going lately, I think we're gonna get there, right? So we just gotta stay there, positive, and build each other up and push forward together. Being humbled, and that experience is already helping us grow and forge a better path forward. Their open and honest approach towards the public is an important trait, I think. And yeah, I'm still a big fan of labs and the work they're doing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. From day one, I've trusted in this team because it's just very talented and honest, and yeah, just they have earned my trust over the last 4 years, almost 4 years that I've been here, and they've never let me down, right? Shit happened, a lot of shit happened, and a lot of mistakes were made on the way, and this is all stuff that happens. The important part is that we work together and move forward and find solutions, and don't live in a world where we talk about the woulda, coulda, and shouldas, which happened a lot, I think, on the panel where we talked about, hey, I don't know, like, what's gonna help Web3 gaming? And everybody was like, nothing, it's fucked, the games are shit. Well, this doesn't help anyone, right? We're here to make it better. We have a certain amount of tools given to us, a certain amount of agency, and we need to use this to our advantage and make the best out of it. I think if we do that, we can do it. So vote for me, and if you don't vote for me, vote for someone else. Make sure to vote so your voice is going to be heard on the IMC, and then later on we got the ICC elections and nominations as well. So make sure to stay engaged at this crucial time for the DAO, because afterwards you can go AFK if you get the right members on the council, and they hopefully will represent you well on the council. And yeah, I'm looking very much forward to the next epoch. I think it's going to be a great one. Until then, have a good one. I see you in the next one. Why do I keep giving kisses out? I don't know. Peace out, guys. Adios.